Good morning or good afternoon, rather, for everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's go ahead and make sure you can hear me. If you type the number 1 in that chat box, I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody. All right, let's get a camera going. There it is. I see it. I see it. Moving and grooving here. All right. Afternoon. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it. Afternoon, Jim, Erica, John. Good morning, Helen. See, it's morning somewhere. All right. So as we get started, keep in mind that everything we look at is for education. Nothing's meant to be advice or recommendations. All right. So we got a lot happening this week. The Inner Circle check-in is tonight, as well as Monster Market Movers is this evening. Guys, don't miss out on this class. I mean, $49, you cannot beat it. What you're going to get from this, there's somewhere around 6 or 7 hours of prerequisite material. There's a candidate video that I did yesterday for all of the candidates with all the lines drawn on them. There's the 2-hour training we do tonight. I mean, it's just so much in there. Mastermind group comes up tomorrow on the 7th. On the 9th is Trading You. Mastering the Trade is on the 13th. We've got Power Hour Trading Coaches Playbook are both on schedule this week. And then Trading Like a Pro is our next free one. Advanced training, free, right? Online workshop is coming up on November 8th, and that is with Brandon. And that is, I still have an October calendar up. I just realized that. That is 2 days from now. That is Wednesday. Right? You got Pop, Covered Call, E-mini Vegas Spread, all on their regular scheduled program. Right, here's our follow us page. Go ahead and follow along with the various content we've got out there. There is a tremendous amount of resources available on these different social platforms. Take advantage of that. And then here is our Trading Boss Manifesto. You can download this right on our website, right on the tradinglikeaboss.com, on robertjroy.com. You can download all of this, from all of the websites. It's a great document, which really basically lays out what it means to be a trading boss, what it means to us, for you to be a trading boss. And then on demand, pick one or pick them all. We've got our on-demand video trainings out there right now. There's, we don't talk about these a lot, but there's a lot of great trainings out there. If you want to learn covered calls, you want to see the training that I did on Fibonacci, we've got them all on demand. There's a couple of them out there. Great opportunity to take advantage of it. So if you're interested, go ahead and click on that. Drop that in if you would please, leave where they can get to those trainings. That would be fantastic. So what trades did y'all do today? Drop those in the chat box. Let's see what you did today. Did you have anything that went off at all? I've got one, just one. Again this week, that's it. So let's see. John's up there bright and early as normal. Appreciate that, John. So Wheel of Fortune on Lyft, Oracle, Square, Naked Puts on Beyond, cash flow of $1,200. Awesome. I've got to question the validity of companies like Beyond Meat at this point, right, John? I'm not sure if those of you saw what just happened recently in Italy, where they basically said, yeah, your fake stuff no longer allowed here. You can't have fake meat in Italy any longer. Done. I wonder how much that's going to affect some of these guys out there and how many others are going to come along with it. That was me, Roman. That's who I'm in. No trades there for Brenda. Tripp said Tripp is horrible. Tripp said he only made 23% in 8 minutes on IWM with the Hakanashi Scout. There you go, Tripp. Great job. I love that setup is just getting a lot of recognition right now. A lot of the individuals from our inner circle are trading it. PK said, none, trying to get Tosh switched to Schwab. So I had a problem over the weekend. PK, I tried to get in my account and it gave me an error message. I was trying to log in the practice trading side. I just tried again a few minutes ago and it gave me the same message. I flipped it over and went to the funded side and it did let me in. So I don't know if they took the practice trading side away. It's there as a choice, so I'm guessing not, but I probably need to call them. It just won't be this week. I'm actually on an airplane tomorrow, only for a day. I leave tomorrow, get back on Wednesday. So just for the day, but so I won't have the time until maybe the end of the week to do it. And I don't know how good it is, bad it is, works, doesn't work. I did see a big web advertisement on their platform, so I don't know what the heck that was. It's a web page instead of a chart or something. It was crazy. No trades today for Jim. I get it. Tripp said, try practice after doing funded. It should work according to Rick. Okay, well, I appreciate that. Well, I'm in now. I logged in. I logged out now because I don't want TradeStation, Thinkorswim, and Zoom open at the same time. Zoom doesn't like it. Zoom is a resource hog. At least it is when we're recording trading stuff going on there, especially when you're looking at real-time charts. All right, so Amelia's got one that went off today. I think it's one. Yeah, it's one trade. That went off today. I didn't get a chance to look at it yet. Oh, it's IWM, right? It's the same symbol that Tripp was talking about, right? So she bought puts, the 175 put at $1.32, right? So that trade, that entry of that trade came in at 9:33 this morning. Single is it's not a spread, it's a single. Buy to open 5 contracts, IWM, November 6th. Let's see, when is that expiration? Today, right? I love that. 175 puts at $1.32. Right, she sold them at 9:36. 3 minutes later, almost to the second, 2 seconds off. 3 minutes later, she sold them at $1.67. So basically, she went and made, if you look, I don't know why math is just not working for me today. Let's see. Was that 35 cents? 67 minus 32, 35 cents. So she made 35 cents. So if you take 35 cents, right, so 0.35 times 100 shares, that would be one contract, times 5. She made $175, which was 25% in about 3 minutes, right? Not horrible whatsoever. I got to say, I'm okay with that kind of rate of return. Now, Tripp, how often are you taking one of these Hakanashi trades that you did today? I know it might be slightly different than Amelia's, but how often are you taking these Hakanashi scalps? How many days a week? Yeah, there you go. PK goes boom for Amelia. Yeah, she crushed it all the time, guys. She really does. Almost every day. All right. And is that a standard rate of return on it, Tripp? 23%. Is that about what you're looking at on a day-to-day basis? It's a little low. So if we said 25%, right? Guys, I mean, this is just, it's an awesome setup what they've done. Roman's out there. I didn't read Roman's off because I already said mine, so I'll tell you what he did in just a little bit. Yeah, way to go on 25% rate of return. Exactly, Jim. I love it. A lot of kudos for everybody with their trades. So I appreciate you all doing that and putting that in. It's a great setup. The Hakanashi scalp's a great setup. The way that Amelia's trading this, that she does through her Trade Watch alerts. Again, also just she does a great job with it, guys. I mean, just a great job with it. Okay. Let's see what else we got on there. Tripp said 25 to 30% on average have made as much as 80%. So what does a week look like, Tripp? So if you had to take the week, what would the week's ROR be? Would you make 20% on the week? Would you make 50% on the week? What would it come out to be on the setup? Because dollar amount doesn't matter, guys. This was 5 contracts. Maybe you didn't have 5 contracts. Maybe you couldn't pull together the 5 and 3 times 5 is 15. So the $650, $700 that needed to do all of these contracts. Maybe you can only do one, and you just had $132 laying in an account, right? And you were just able to make that 35 cents or $35, right? You don't need to have or do as many contracts, you know, where John comes out and says he did all these trades and made 1,200, 1,700, $3,000, whatever. You don't have to do as many contracts as what John is doing, right? You can easily jump in and do a trade with a singular contract, which you should, by the way. That's exactly what you should be doing, is one contract to start. You should not ever be doing more than that as a starting point, right? Not unless there's a reason that you have to, and I mean have to scale out of a trade. Other than that, it's different if your trade requires it. Otherwise, I would say one would be the place to go. So Tripp said 25 to 30 cents per day, 4 to 5 days per week on average. So guys, if you average it at 20% a day for 4 days, right? That's 80% a week. So if you're using $1,000, that's $800 a week. As an example only, of course, I'm just making numbers up here. If you're using $100, right? At 80% a week, it's $80, right? You're using 100 grand. Well, you see, now it starts to get a little wiggy, doesn't it? Right? That's $80,000. Okay. No one should use the 100 grand. It's not where you should start off with this. Okay. Roman did a trade on NVIDIA today. So did I. So you can see NVIDIA gapped up today. It opened up right at 452.85. It pulled back to a low of 452.68. We've got 452.38. So 30 cents below is our support line, and then we bounce, right? We've pulled back since. So let's go take a look at NVIDIA today. 452.38, that is the right number, right? Yeah, I just want to make sure I didn't drag it around and so forth, right? If we go look at 1 minute candles, right? You see we gapped up right out of the gate in that trade. We had this massive move. I had a quick pullback on the 1 minute. Once we got in the trade, I'm back to 5, right? So I'm back at a 5. And I'm watching what happens in here. And this is part of the micro day trading setup, the way that I traded it. Again, I'll be teaching that sometime in the new year. After going through it 2 separate occasions, once at a training that we did the Saturday after our Trader Super Summit in New York just a few weeks ago. On a Saturday, I went over with the individuals that were from my inner circle that came, and then I taught it in our last quarterly inner circle meeting, our full day live training that we do on trading, of course. After teaching it there, I've gotten through enough of it to know exactly how I want to present it to everybody. So you'll see this coming out next year, early on. And what we're really going to do, my goal is to build out a series of these types of setups, components, and so forth, right? Very low cost, $29, $59, just very low cost for them, with just pure detail, no minutia, just no fluff. Just this is how we trade this. So the whole idea is to get the strategy detailed out, every bit of it, straightforward in the strategy creation system format. So I'm really looking forward to it. But basically, we ran up, and as we started to fail, and we go back to ones. Okay, you can see the move up. We had a quick little pullback in there, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the first 5 minute candle. This is the next 5 minute candle, right? And then this is about where we were out. So overall, great little trade on NVIDIA today. I'm really excited about the micro day trading stuff. It really takes advantage of, particularly in markets like this, which we haven't seen in a long time, meaning before COVID, we haven't seen this type of stuff in a long time. This type of pattern, and it wasn't something that I sought after to say, let's figure this problem out. It was as I'm trading one day and I see a pattern setting itself up on the chart, and I recognize a repeatable condition, and went back and looked at thousands of other candidates that did the exact same thing and came up with the aha, right? Brenda said, what is the fib line? So it's that 452.38, Brenda. I don't remember which level it is, but let's see. $452.38 is the -272, which is hesitation, right? So that's the line that we're at right now, Brenda. It's the -272, right? Very excited for that line. Right. Listen, I look at, it's pretty simple. I look at NVIDIA, Netflix, and Tesla every single day as my primary candidates, no matter what the pattern is, no matter what's happening there. I've got other ways to trade it than just the way that we set it up in Pop. I have other trade setups that I can use, but those 3 have to become first and foremost for me. They just must. Now, you're going to find your 3, whoever you like. You may be like, is Erica in here today? She is. You may be like Erica and says, oh my God, Roku is the one, baby. And I'm not disagreeing with it. I mean, Roku has had an amazing move from $55 up to $85 in just 3 days, right? A little bit of a pullback today. I ain't worried about it. Their earnings were amazing. The pullback today is just, it went crazy. So we got to give it a little bit back. It played ping pong between 2 fib levels today, which gave you an opportunity to take that trade between the 84.69 and 81.25. $3 move. $3 move on an $85 stock intraday. Here it is, 12 o'clock, and we're there already. We already made that kind of movement already. So I really like what Roku as a company. You're going to find your top ones that you like to trade, and then what setups work best for you, and you'll trade around those setups and around those candidates. Now, I didn't mention Roku as one of my top 3. That doesn't mean I don't look to trade it, but my go-tos are Tesla, NVIDIA, and Netflix. I like the patterns. I like the way they move. I understand them. The way that I describe it is I know their heartbeat. I know how they eat, drink, sleep, breathe. I know everything about them. And when I see a pattern, I go, oh, I know that. Let me trade this way because it does this. at this point, right? Whether it's time of day, price pattern off a certain level, one level being more important than another on each of those stocks, and so forth, right? It's a matter of you learning some little insider secrets that you've determined for that. Okay. Hey, Lee, do me a favor. Lee, do me a favor. Tell Nick that I'm in training right now. Somebody that works for us that's in India is trying to get in touch with me right now. So based on the pattern and so forth, you're going to make those decisions on trading, and you'll pick the stocks that you like. I look at all 20 of these. Every one of these guys, I did this yesterday, as I do every day. Sorry for my back to you, but this is where my sheet is. Right? And this is my power option plays tracking sheet. Okay, this is my daily action plan. This is right on the very top, daily action plan. Right? Daily action, maybe in reverse, but it's daily action. Okay. And I already have all the details down here, what I'm looking for. All of these are on TradeStation, and I go through TradeStation and pre-market, and I look for ones that have moved closer to fib levels. And when I find those stocks, I highlight them, put them into a separate watch list, and look at those right out of the open, on top of the ones that I wanted to look at after yesterday's analysis that are listed on my page here, right? I know who my earnings candidates are, when the earnings are coming out, all of that is on this action plan. I do that action plan every single day that I'm going to trade, right? Every single time I'm going to trade, every day I'm going to trade for, I do an action plan, okay? But, so I'm not trading tomorrow, like I'm not going to be trading Wednesday morning, right? I may be in the afternoon, but I won't be in the morning, right? So I'll determine that Wednesday morning, and if I am, I will put an action plan together. If I'm not, then I won't be doing an action plan for it, right? Because I'm not going to be trading that day. Thanks, Lee. PK said Roku was Trips switchback. Yeah, it's a great switchback setup yesterday, right? On the close, it was right there. It's a great setup. Great setup. Okay. So lots of opportunities out there, guys. I looked at the pivot point trades for today. There's nothing that really floated my boat. Yeah. I wasn't really planning on a pullback like that, so I was not taking that bearish trade. It was a very small move anyway. 434.67 to 435.29. So I mean, no, actually 435.92, right? So about $1.30, $1.20 in there from top to bottom. It moved, but just was a little tight for me. Wasn't really interested. So Erica said, does the market close on Friday? It's Veterans Day. No, Veterans Day is not a holiday. I looked Saturday night. We're at a friend's house. My wife is a teacher. Her friend, the couple's house we were at, she works in a school. And they were saying, oh, we're off Friday. I'm like, oh, let me look. And I went and I pulled up Stock Market Holidays 2023 and Veterans Day. I never remember what these little holidays are. I mean, I think there are more we should get off for the market, should be closed, but you know, we don't. So it is what it is. But no, we're open. Friday is always a lesser trading day for me anyway. I will manage covered calls, iron condors, all my selling positions. I will look to enter into selling positions for the following week. If I'm getting out of a covered call, I don't know, on US Steel. If I had a covered call I sold for 40 cents and I bought it back for a nickel or 2 cents, and I'm going to do that now and look to roll out to next week now, right? If I plan on holding on to that stock. So I'll normally do those on a Friday. Other than that, my Friday becomes very light in trading. Between my own trading and the customers, you know, the students, you guys that I deal with these types of trainings. Tonight I have Monster Market Movers. By the time Friday gets here, I've had it. I'm good. I'm good. You know. So PK, I really want to see at least $1.50, $2 between the pivot points on SPY, right? Or Qs. It's just a little too tight for me there. And the gap up right to resistance, I wasn't looking to trade down. I did not see a good move to the upside on it to take a bullish entry. And even if I had, my lines here are even tighter than the ones I have now. So R1 to R2 are really small, right? So, but once again, for each individual, it's a comfort level of where you feel okay with it at that point. Sure, Roman, I can show the pivots on the Qs. Right? So we did get the move up, but once again, we're in that very tight pattern there. So we're looking at 369.87 to 380.73. Nope, my bad. So 368.81, 368.80 to 369.80. So it was $1 in there. That was, and we made it on one candle. It was just, it's a little tight for me. I certainly can't do anything about scaling out on it at that point. It's too close for that, right? So there's the pivots on that one, Roman. Okay. So NVIDIA was it for me. A couple selling positions last week, but nothing else there. You know, I taught iron condors in our quarterly training for the inner circle. We'll follow up on them for the next 2 months as well on the iron condors. But one of the greatest things about that is, you know, the way that we teach it, there's only about a 6 or 8% chance that will go against you. It's going to go against you. It's not a matter of if, it's when. It will. It's just a matter of when. On average, 1 to 2 times a year is what you're going to see happen. You're going to see it go against you 1 to 2 times a year. If you do that, follow the rules, the way the system works out, you've got about a 44% chance of 44% rate of return for the year by just doing a strategy that takes about an hour a month on a normal month. On a month that's gone against you, it's going to take you 2 or 3 hours for the month. For sure. Okay. Exactly, Brenda. A very long rectangle on the Qs and SPY, because we've had such a big move in the last couple of days. We might as well go there now. We've had such a massive move in the last couple of days of trading that the market's trying to decide what it wants to be when it grows up. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big days, which started with a small gap, a big gap, a bigger gap. I mean, and now the question is, was that an exhaustion gap, and are we rolling over? And we've got to talk about what's going on in the chart, but before we get above our recent swing high, which is the concern right now, right? Are we going to fail before that point? That's not going to be a good thing if it does. The 8 did just cross up through the 21, even though we had very little move today. It was a massive move on the 8 because more emphasis is being placed exponential on the current days. So these last couple of days are kicking in now. They're only 2 or 3 days away, not 8 days away, right? So they are really kicking in right now and having a lot of emphasis on where the moving averages are showing up, right? So we back this up, back it up, up. Okay, so you can see the entire Fibonacci in there. Let me get rid of the crosshairs. Let me get that drawing tool. Gregory, do me a favor, if you would put them in, put the questions in the chat going forward would be helpful, because I just happened to catch the Q&A. I don't normally look for Q&A. Are you able to provide information on how to be a trader for a firm? When you say to be a trader for a firm, and please do put it, as I said, in chat if you can, Gregory. What do you mean by a firm? You talking about going to work as a broker for Merrill Lynch? You talking about becoming a floor trader? You talking about becoming a prop trader? Give me some idea of what it is you're referring to. All right. So we've got our drawing tool in here. Here's our V bottom. Okay. We got a nice move up, and then we get this pull back in there. Okay. That's our original fib in there. We had a nice move up in here, and we were in an uptrend, bigger, longer term uptrend in here, right? But very long term. And then we started into this new formation where we put in this new downtrend, right? We failed without hitting resistance, lower highs, which was, once that happened and we got the rollover, my expectations were we would, without a doubt, would hit the 41.81. And without a doubt, I felt we were going to get to this line right here, which you can't see all of it, but it says 10% down here with the arrow. That was a 10% correction from the 52-week highs, right? So we got down into that 52-week high correction there. I scrunch down a little bit. You see there it is, 10% correction, okay? Which happens to be right on top of a pivot, no less, which was awesome that it happened to fall right there, right? So we put that line in place based on the all-time high, the 52-week high, and we were nowhere near it, and the fib is not even in place yet, and yet that line happens right on a Fibonacci, which means we failed right at the right point before people even knew it was the right point, okay? All right, so So, okay, so Gregory said yes to be a floor trader. So, Gregory, here's the toughest part about being a floor trader. It is a good old boy network. And realistically, if you don't know someone, it's darn near impossible to get. The natural order that I have seen work there to get there is they're working for a brokerage firm first on the trading floor, in the trading department rather, and they work or move over to the trading floor. But remember, there's very little traders on trading floors any longer. You go to Chicago Board of Options Exchange, they actually moved the Chicago Board of Trade into the same building because they didn't need two buildings. It was literally a vast wasteland. If you look at pictures from 25 years ago, 20 years ago of the CBOE, and you look up in the sky on the top, and you will see all of these monitor stands full of monitors, just thousands and thousands of monitors. You go there, and I've not been in a couple of years, but I was there probably last 2015, 16 in the CBOE, something like that. The last time I was there, you go, and they've got one small segment left of where people are working in pits, and that's the VIX and the S&P. And then they don't really have a lot of trading going on there with people on the floor. And then everywhere else are these empty metal racks, frames that had monitors in them, that they took the monitors out, sold them, used them. I don't know what they did with them, but they no longer have the monitors in it. It's kind of bleak looking. So there's not a lot of floor traders left out there. Realistically, the best way in is to start to get into a brokerage firm, get your licenses, your Series 7, your 63. You may need a principal's license. I don't know. You definitely need to be able to trade options. So if that's what you're looking for. But for that the biggest pit still is on the CBOE there. Okay. All right. So Sam said trading psychology. What about it, Sam? Help me out. We'll get to charts in just a little while. So just remind me when we get there. All right. Let's see this. Hey, Lee, do me a favor. Set Gwen up with a call with Suzanne to get this her question answered, if you would, please. You're welcome, Gregory. Jennifer said, I was in the CBOE pit many years ago and practice traded pit after hours. Very cool experience. Extremely tough, stressful job. So when I first started trading, guys, back in 1997, somewhere around 98, 99, I forget exactly what it was, the American Stock Exchange came out with a program called Trader for a Day. It was free. You got to go down on the exchange floor. It was awesome, right? I applied for it. They had already filled it up. They called me a couple weeks later, so we had such a great response. We're doing it again. You're still interested? Yes, put me in. So I get down to the American Stock Exchange. Markets open. It's probably 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I don't remember exactly. They take us down. No, it was about 12 because they took us inside the exchange first into a conference room. Now I'm a woodworker, right? This table was mahogany, about 8 inches thick. I don't know, 12 feet wide, 14 feet wide, and about 40 to 50 feet long, right? The chairs back then were thousands of dollars per chair, just hand-carved, immaculate. It was an intimidating room to be in. They brought up a floor trader, a market maker, a pit trader. They brought all these individuals up to talk to us about the differences in their jobs. When we were done there, they brought us down on the exchange floor, and we got to actually watch live trading, real trading happening in real time, right? Which was phenomenal. And as the market maker, the guy who owns the firm for whatever equity, he had like Procter & Gamble and whatever it was. And all of a sudden, his assistant says something to him while he's talking to us. And he looks up at the board and he goes, all right, do this, 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 and this. And he goes back to talking to us. I said, you're not getting off that easy. What did you just do? He said, well, they wanted a place to trade. They were negotiating the spread. I had to approve that for that negotiation. It's more than we're willing to give. And once I did, I wasn't taking the other side of that trade, meaning I thought he was wrong or right. I wanted to hedge my risk on this. So we did this and this and this. And it's not about you're buying a call, so you think it's going to go up. So I'm the market maker. And if it does go up, I'm in trouble. No, I'm hedging off that risk as a market maker. Right. So it's all about how do we the market makers, the floor traders, effectively manage their risk in that trade, right? That's a tremendous part of it. So then we got to a practice trading session after the market closed. 4 o'clock came, and we got a practice trading session. And then literally the owner of the company is the market maker, and we were all floor traders. And we all had floor trading jackets. We had numbers. I don't have it here. It's in my office, but I've got my CBOE badge that I got when I went to the CBOE, right? And we had little badges they made for us. And then you had these paper tickets that you were writing orders out on. And you had to take an order, and you had to, when you wanted to buy, you were seeing the prices. They would hold the prices up on a piece of paper, right, in the air. Big cardboard, okay, right? And then news, right? Microsoft to buy Apple, right? Apple stock plummets or whatever, right? And then, you know, they made a mock trading session up, and you had to figure out when you wanted to buy. I was the first one. I jumped in. I said, I'll take that trade. And within seconds, 2 seconds at most, from a profile view, the owner of the market making firm is here. His nose is where my hand is. You're going to take that trade, Ray. What are you going to do next? What are you going to do? What, that's it? You're taking the trade? What else? So what are you going to buy? You're going to sell? I went, I'll sell. All right, good. He's going to sell. Take that trade. And he starts screaming and walking around like, this frigging guy is nuts. And all of a sudden, we're all standing about a line about the same distance from him. The rest of the group steps back 2 steps. And for the next few minutes, no one came out and said, oh, I want to take the trade. Nothing. This guy scared the crap out of everybody. Excuse my French. Okay. But it was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life. What I learned about options trading in that 4 or 5 hours, I don't remember exactly how long it was absolutely amazing. They shut it down right after that. I never saw another advertisement come out for it again. And I asked the owner, all of that to say, I asked the owner of the firm, I want to know about being a market maker. I want to be a floor trader here. How do I do that? And he said, what do you do now? I said, I trade full time right now. He goes, keep doing that. I said, why? He goes, see that guy over there? How old do you think he is? I said, I don't know, 60? He goes, yeah, he's 35. Okay, he looks a little bit older than that. He goes, yeah. He's alcoholic. Really? Yeah. See that guy over there? Mm-hmm. How about him? Well, I don't know. Is he 30? Yeah, no, he's not 30. Sorry, is he 50? No, he's 30. 30, that's it? Yeah. He's drug rehab 3 times. Like, what's going on? He goes, this is an extremely stressful job, which is exactly what Jennifer had said. Extremely stressful job. Very tough. He goes, you're better off staying home and just trade full time. He said, you'll do better for yourself. And come to find out, the guys and gals on the floor, they're not traders, not like we are. They're hedging. They're not trading. They're hedging their risk off on there, right? It was great to be there, but man, it was interesting. Yeah, Gregory said, sounds like it used to be super fun. It was a lot of fun and very intense, Jennifer. Exactly. All right, we'll look at the monthly in a second, Jim. That's a good point. Let's take a look at that. We'll look at the monthly chart on the S&P, right? So we've had all this downward pressure. We had come into a recent, or previously, we're going to take it off now because we don't need them any longer, but we had these swing lows stepping in there, right? We kept making lower lows along the way, right? And then we put in a new lower low, which is down here. I'm not going to bother marking it because it's already running into the fib line right there, okay? We put a new lower low in there. That low, that was our trigger right there. That triggered 5 days in a row to the upside. The entire last week, one of the biggest weeks moves in months. We've had offsetting massive drops over the last months on the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, and the Russell. Russell being just plummeted in that time period. So really nice bounces there. But here's the key. We have a previous swing high here. And we have not reached up into it yet, or been able to yet hit and break through that. Can't hit it. We got to break through it. So basically, we're looking for it to get above the 4,400. If you can't remember 43.93.57, don't write it down if you want. But we're looking at that 4,400-ish level. That's what we really need to see it get above. If we can get above that level, even that doesn't take us out of the bearish pattern. If we get up here, we still have this downtrend line we're running up into. We got to close above that. And now we're in more of a bullish area. We're bullish now, but our moving averages are all wrong, right? The 8 needs to be on top. It needs to be the 8, then the 21, then the 55, right? Right now, we've got 55, barely 8 over 21, barely, right? Meaning that 8 just barely crossed up today through the 55, the 21 moving average. right? So overall, it is definitely a bearish pattern that we're looking at there. I want to see us get above that 4,400. Then we're going to need to clear the 4,448. And then the next one is about 4,500 to that next upside target in there. That'll be the next one for us. But if we can get above this downtrend line, this 4,400, takes a couple more days to get above. The moving averages will be in a much closer pattern of bullishness as long as we have a steady flow of moving upward. I don't need massive. I just need steady. Slow and steady wins the race. If we do that, the 8 will cross up, the 21 will stay there, the 55 will come down, and you'll have 8, 21, and 55 right where you want them. And now we would have a true bullish bias, TBB, true bullish bias, right? On that pattern. If we look at the VIX and the likings of the VIX, we've had, again, this massive push to the downside. We're at 15.14 right now. Super low on the VIX, right? Very low cost on our options. I mean, if we look right now, let me go over here. Let me open up an option chain. All right, let's go to, it doesn't matter. I want to put NVIDIA up there, so I got to put something else first. All right, so let's go to NVIDIA. Okay. So if I'm trading NVIDIA, I'm looking for today. And I actually just went through some of this on our Trading Live. So what am I looking for? 65 to 85 delta. I've got a 69 delta. I've got 445 strike, which gives me 3,900 open interest. The option is trading at 1293. It should be trading at about 1285. Well, that is an amazing number. I have a very small bid-ask spread at 15 cents. All of this, every bit of it, the result of a fairly low VIX, right? So low volatility. Granted, you've got a little bit higher implied vol at 40% here, but historical vol is about 40 on the stock price. So it's NVIDIA. They are in a very volatile industry, right? What's NVIDIA's biggest claim to fame these days? What is it? Exactly, Trip. Who else? This is why NVIDIA is top on my list, because of what Trip just typed in. And he only typed in 2 letters, by the way. Exactly, Brenda. Yep. Well, all right. I'll help you out. Good. It's AI. It is AI. If you have not yet dove in and figured out how AI is going to work for you in whatever you do in life, I think you're leaving a lot of potential on the table, a lot of cost on the table, and a lot of opportunity. I think that this is one of those. This is my mom. When the internet came out in the late 90s, my mom knew nothing about it and paid no attention to it. And she struggles now to do things on the computer, right? I think those that don't learn AI 10, 15, 20 years from now will struggle with things on the computer, right? Just what AI is capable of. You know, when we're looking for names or trying to come up with answers on how something gets done and works and best practices, and we write our SOPs using AI now, and just you create graphics with AI, right? There's so much out there that the potential is, right? Which ones, Gwen? Sorry, Gwen said I said those exact same words. So true, Rob. Which one? Which word? Sorry. Erica said, yes, I've been using AI, planning on obtaining my certification from Cornell. All right, you're going a step beyond that. I'm getting certified from an AI expert that I work with. It's actually someone that I do business with. I'm getting certified from them. They are, not cheap. It's not cheap at all. But man, the guy is just smoking. When you take an hour to write a description out of what you want to do so you can use that description to create a graphic, and you hit the enter button, it's like, all right, that's almost perfect. It's almost exactly what I want. Change this, 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 and this. About the computer and AI. Exactly, Gwen. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the computer and AI, if you don't learn it, guys, there's so much that's going to be left behind. So, but NVIDIA, that's their claim to fame. AI, baby. That's why they're rocking with their profits the way that they are. And I don't think they're stoppable. I don't think they're AOL. What I mean by that is the first adapters, right? The first companies that come out, AOL was, remember, America Offline, right? The first companies that come out with a product, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best and or even last. As you see, no more AOL. There's still the software or the platform. Somebody owns it, but that's a hacker's haven as far as I'm concerned. My mom gets hack stuff, fake news, just all the time. I made her delete it off her computer. She actually tried to keep something there. I went to a house out on there and I just hit delete, got rid of everything. It's like, nope, I don't want you ever touching that again. I think unlike AOL, NVIDIA is in this for the long run. They will be around forever, in my opinion. Oh, forever. They're not going away. How about that? Okay. AI is great in the right hand, scary in the wrong ones. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's so easy now to take a person's, speech, videotape of a speech, load it into a software program, and it'll give you a duplicate of their video, their voice, their motions. I mean, I call scams out on TikTok and Instagram all the time where Elon Musk is giving away Bitcoin, half of Bitcoin to everybody who applies. And I call BS on it all the time. I say, yeah, you're full of it. It's such a lie. If you look, the pictures are small, but if you look close enough, you can see the lips aren't exact. But you can do that type of stuff now and make it look like they're the one and sound like they're the one speaking. Les said, I'm a writer. Word 365 has a newer editing program. AI, 95% of the editing suggestions are beyond asinine, not correct English. Changes the whole meaning. How can you trust such stupidity? So yeah, no, I'm all for that. Les, I agree. Right? I mean, listen, there are actual programs out there now that you can plug something in to see, was this created with AI? And it'll tell you if ChatGPT did it or not. Right? Yeah, deep fakes, Glenn, exactly. So AI is here to stay, though, guys. And you need to understand how it can work for you, but the ramifications of against you like this of give us your money and we're going to give you free Bitcoin. I got to give you money to get free Bitcoin. That should be a trigger right there, right? No. Let's see. Brandon said an innocent person was arrested because their image was used to commit a crime. Devastating. Yeah. Well, they did it with DNA where they can now fake your DNA. It doesn't have a certain protein in it, so they can see that when they look with another test. But it's out there. There is no safety any longer. It literally should be where you are videotaping yourself 24/7. You're sleeping. You got videotape running. See, I was sleeping. Here's the camera. I'm asleep. Right? Just to prove who and where you are all times. All right, drop in the symbols you want me to take a look at, guys. If you put some in before, drop them in again because those are gone. It would be way too hard for me to go back and try to pick all of that up to look at it. I know I saw spies and cues in there, so let's go take a look at that. I'm going to switch this over to all symbols just so I can get a look at the pivots on them. All right, so we go to SPY. Gonna do the S first. Okay. Yeah. So I got 3 people with SPY in there. So there you go. Exactly. So you got SPY. All right. We had a nice bounce to the upside. Same thing, the same 5 days, and we're failing at that 435.87 level. If we close right where we are, this is a potential, right about where we are. This is a potential switchback trade. So what are we looking for? If we get the push up and the fail, we're looking for a move down to 431. If we could break that 436, retest and bounce, we're looking at 440 as resistance. And again, you're down somewhere down below that is the your targets, right? It's not going to be right at that 439.89 level. It's going to be down below that level, all right? Oh, Jim, we were going to look at S&P 500. Sorry about that. We said about the monthly chart where you said an M. Sorry, guys. We'll go back to that in a sec. So we do have a very long-legged M happening in there, Jim, right? But it's early onset, right? You got all of this in here. I love the lower right shoulder. When I say I love it, it's showing more weakness, more downside potential, okay? So the break of the neckline, which is the horizontal line across these bottoms in here, right? That is the entry into the trade. We just have a long way to go there, especially on monthly. We could be months of time before we get there, but it is setting up that pattern, Jim. So it's a good catch on that. All right, so SPY. Let's see. Erica's asking for Roku. Nope. Let's do that now. Assign SPX. All right, so let's go back to the daily template. All right, now we'll do it here. Roku. So Roku made a beautiful move, guys, and I want you to see what's happened. So it's a very late pattern, the way it presented itself, but we've got our move here. We pulled up to the 236 hesitation point and we failed. We got a really nice bounce back in place here and we came up. And where is the failure taking place? Right at the 618. Right at the 618. Right? Just absolutely amazing. So when we look, and this would be a good teaching moment as you were. Okay. So instead of the topic I wanted to talk about today, let's talk about this, and we'll make this the other one the topic for next week. Let's talk about the standard deviation moves. Okay, when we're looking at Fibonacci, and y'all need to be prepared for this because there is a brand new Fib series coming out in end of first quarter, beginning of second quarter next year, 2024. Brand new series, all the strategies redone, strategy creation, everything brand spanking new on the system, on the setup. And we're going to talk about these standard deviations. We went over this the other day in training, in Trading You Live 2.0. Okay. We were talking about fibs. And when you make a move up into that fib line, any fib line, doesn't matter, but particularly now we're at that 618, right? That is the most important line on the chart, hands down, period, the end, no ifs, ands, or buts. Okay. That is the most important line. Well, when we fail off of that, the expectation is a two-line move, right? So down to one line, two lines, and a little bit more. That's what's normally going to happen. Just a little bit more, right? How much more? Just a little bit, right? Well, why? When you look at a standard deviation, and I'm no math, I'm no statistics analyst, I am no math guru. C average was the best I could do, and math wasn't the class I got C in. If it wasn't for shops, I would not have a C average. Okay, shops, I got straight A's, A pluses in every shop class there was, from wood shop to metal shop to print shop to auto shop. It didn't matter. I got A pluses, A plus in everything. Okay, that made up for the D's. I got in English and math and science and all the unimportant ones for me anyway. Okay, so when you look at that move off of there, off of any line, you expect that 2+, and that plus is a very small amount, but 2 lines plus a little bit more, right? So let's call it a 2-line move. The exact number, someone gave it to me on Saturday, but I don't think it was right. Trip usually has an exact number, but and it doesn't matter, it's close enough. It's approximately 95% of all data points happen in a 2 standard deviation move. In other words, if you're out of the majority of your trade, by the time you get to that second line, life is good. You're right where you belong. It's exactly how you should do it, being out of the majority of the trade. Hence, in power option plays, I have an exit system called the 4-3-2-1. That 4-3-2-1 says get out of 40% of your trade, the first exit, then 30% of your trade, then 20% of your trade, then the last 10. So real easy math, 10 contracts, 4 contracts, then 3, then 2, then 1. Okay. If you get that run, that one contract can be worth more than the other 9 combined. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen on occasion. Okay. So we're looking for that 2-line move to the downside in this case, right? It's not we decided to go up now. Nope, nothing to do with it. Okay. That 2-line move down. We've already moved one of those 2 lines today. We moved within that level today, playing ping pong inside of here, right? Between the 618 and the 50. Right. Now, the question is, when we got down there, if you had a bearish trade that you took, when you got down to this line, you would be out of 40% of your contracts. If you got down, again, just above it, but near this line, that's the actual line, but above that line, you're going to be out of another 30% of your contracts. So we're saying 95% of all data points fall within 2 standard deviations. That says you want to be out of a high percentile of your trade. Now, you could say, well, then, Rob, why don't you just get out of 90% of it at that time, 95% of your contracts, and you could do something like that. I'm happy to leave some on the table to run, and that, for me, is my last 3 contracts. I have a 2 contract exit and then a 1 contract exit. So if I'm right and it's moving in my direction, we're going to take the next 2 off. If I'm wrong and it goes against me, we're going to take off all 3. All right, we're out of the trade, done. 95.4. Okay, see, I told you, Tripp's got the exact number. I never remember it. Tripp's a guru when it comes to this stuff, right? One of the students that was in the training with us just, again, it's close enough. It's 95%, so it worked. So we're looking at that move to be that 2%. So we basically have a very late blooming H pattern. That's the H, right? You may call it an ugly H. That is the prettiest letter in the alphabet when it comes to the stock market to me, right? That is a kicking ass letter, the way that looks, all right? So, okay. So we got Roku under wraps. You got that 81.25 is our next downside. There's not much room to that. We're almost there. So 77.81 from there. And on the upside, 84.69. I'd love to see the bounce on Roku. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. We may get another day or two of drop just to get back down to that 75-ish level, which is probably where I think it more belongs. But listen, I'm not going to fight it. If it goes up, I'm going to trade it up. All right, so that was Roku. Let's go to Brenda's asking for QQQ. Let's put that puppy in place. So we got the gap up on the Qs. It never retested from Friday. It never retested. It was a gap and go. And today we get a small gap up. We push higher and then we fail. And we're right about just slightly below where we opened up today. Okay, hence the black candle. We're slightly down below. There is no clear and concise entry for me on the Qs at this point. We're in the middle of nowhere. You woke up and they dropped you off in the middle of a field in Montana or a desert in Texas, and you, as far as the eye can see, is land, right? That's what this is. Maybe not as far as the eye can see, but as far as I can tell, there's nothing here that says, ooh, get in. There's no compelling reason for me to take this trade at this point. I will wait for the pullback to the 364 level and a bounce, or the break of the 370 and a half, a retest and a bounce. And now I've got an opportunity to take a trade that could become a home run for me, right? But I really want a home run. And what I mean by that is not how far it goes. The home run just meaning I want a trade setup that gives me the best opportunity to be right. Paula said, can you show the fibs on the Qs? Oh, I'm sorry, Paula. Absolutely. Yes. You got it, dear. So we start on the Qs. We start back on the lows of 425 and the highs of 6.5. All right. Quick answer. Gwen said, do you ever use the stocks RSI to help you determine entries? I do not. I have not had a lot of luck with RSI, where Brandon absolutely crushes it with RSI daily, right? It doesn't work the same for me. I just read it wrong, use it wrong, interpret it wrong, whatever you want to call it. MACD I can use, stochastics I can use, RSI I've never had luck with. Doesn't make it bad. It just means me as a trader, it's not my favorite indicator to work with. Yep. And RSI is a must for the Hakanashi scalp trip set. There you go. Gwen said, I see a ton of patterns which seem to consistently work in the simulated trade. Yeah. And again, I'm not saying that RSI is bad. You know, when I first started teaching, it was myself, Tony Benson came on and taught just his patterns and a flash is all he was doing at that point. So not a lot of interaction with students. And we brought Brandon on very regular. He was out there 3 days a week doing E-mini Think Tank, right? And some of our longer term students email me, call me, message me, Inner Circle Mastermind group of what do we do now with this Brandon guy and his stuff? He's different than your teaching. He uses zones, he uses RSI. You don't use that. What do we use? Your way, his way. And the way that I explained it for Gwen, all of you, is you as a trader will never duplicate any one person. You will never trade exactly like me. Roman may trade very close to me. He still uses certain things that come out of Brandon, right? But that doesn't make him the same trader as I. What I talk about is technical analysis being a science. Until you learn it, then it becomes an art, right? The art of that is you learning how I do it. You're learning how Brandon does it, how Tony and Sean and Ryan and Amelia and Tripp and anybody else. And you take the pieces from each one of those and we build you, sculpt you as a trader, right? And that's what we're doing here. right, is what you, making you the best version of you, not the best version of me. You can take a lot of my stuff and use it. And even that, you're going to tweak some of it. You know, I don't like the way this guy does this. I'm going to do it this way. I like it better. Awesome. It's just how it works for me. You know, my demented mind adds things very weirdly in my head. I can just see the numbers appear, and I'm horrible at math. I can see, I don't know how I do it. It just appears. Okay. You may not add the same way that I do. Doesn't mean that your adding is wrong or my adding is wrong. It's just different than mine. And you've got a way that works best for you. All right. Let's see. Roku, Q's. All right. Let's see. Amazon is our next one. So I'm glad to see Amazon having a little bit of a move back up again there, because we had gotten down in low territories. It wasn't quite as low as I would have bought some more. Now, obviously, sorry, but I wasn't buying with the earnings coming up either, right? In that anticipation. The gap up was not enough for me to say, oh, should I buy? But the next day was, all right, we're too far now. So we've got a really nice move. We're back near that 140 level right now. So we're looking at a bounce potentially, Brenda, off of that 137.43 for a retest, or a breakout of the 140.53, retest and bounce with 143.62 as resistance. So about 143-ish would be my target on Amazon. Brenda said a gap fill on SPY. Let's see. Yeah, it did fill its gap. It's just such a small candle, and that resistance right above head just scares the daylights out of me. We closed yesterday, Friday. We closed last trading day 434.69. Right, so 434.70 to 435.90. So $1.20 distance in there. It's just too tight for me. I wouldn't look at the gap fill. It's just everything is too tight. It's too small. Breakout, retest, bounce. Now we're talking a new game. It's a new day. It's a new trading day. Kevin's asking for Riven. So I don't have a fib drawn on Riven. We're going to drop one in here right now. We're going to come down to this very lowest low of this swing low. We're going to come all the way up here to this highest high of this swing high. Right? We had a really nice pullback into the 236 there with a doji candle, no less. Good bounce, and then a fail. 23.5 to 26.5, we'll call it. That's $3. So we need to split that level in half. We're going to add a negative, or a 118, and then a negative 136. So that's our Fibit. We've got that split in. Now, if you're sitting here saying, Rob, I just don't understand Fibits. How do you do that? How do I learn it? Go over to tradinglikeaboss.com, guys. Scroll down, and on the bottom of the page, you see Fibonacci today's power indicator. This is a 3-part series, 1 part each day. Right? You can download that training. It's about 20 minutes each part, and you will go through all the different components of what it is that I do on Fibs, right? So that's how you'll learn more about Fibits and what they work, what they are and how they work. Okay. So on Riven, we're looking at 16.5 on the downside. I am definitely bearish on this candidate. Earnings coming out tomorrow, so I wouldn't be doing anything with the earnings coming out. But look for the move down to 16.5 to move up to 18.5. Right, that's our first targets on each direction, up and down. Hey, Henry, BA, big airplane. All right, so I'm going to back this up. It's a great channel pattern for a long time. I am going to draw a new fib. Wow, talking about just an amazing move. Just pure black. Just great bearish candles. Good move up to the 236. We're in a neutral bias right now. So if you break through the 194, you've got room down to about 189.5 is support at the 8 moving average. If we retest the 194 and bounce, we're looking at a move up to 200. We don't use the 55 as a target. Okay. So right up to about 200. So a lot of opportunity there, Henry, in either direction, but it is neutral right now. So, and we're not that far away from getting bullish either. All right. Roman's asking for Netflix. You got it, Roman. See the entire fib. Okay. Good fib in there. Earnings were great. Good move to the upside. They're really sticking it to people, sharing passwords and all that good stuff, right? So, Roman, we're at a switchback. Break the 433 retest and bounce. You got up to 447. Retest the 433 and fail. You're down to 419 with the confluence of the 8. I mean, that's just a great setup. It's a great setup in there. The fib's getting a little bit older, but nothing to really replace it with at this point. I mean, that was a decent move, but a little bit smaller. Excellent. Good. And look at that. We are right there. So everybody, listen, Brandon's got one more training coming up on the 8th. Drop that link in one more time there, please, Lee, for Trading Like a Pro. Encore Performance. We had some problems at the last one. Some people couldn't get in. There was just too many people in there. So we apologize for that. We've figured out where to fit it in. So we've got that happening like now, this week. So go ahead and register for that. It's an 8 p.m. class on the 8th. Take advantage of it. Lee just dropped it in there. With that, everybody have a great rest of your day. And I will see you all at our next update. All right. Bye for now.